down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk.
I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
We say this is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
Are you a big Oat Bran guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl. Like, you have bad taste.
I have bad taste. What am I have to debate
What is
that?
Cracklin Oat Bran?
I would.
Have you had that?
Cinnamon toast. What? Yeah.
What
If you
makes
want-
it so
if-
good?
I feel like you're missing a lot, to be honest.
I think you're probably right.
Man, I ain't been on a cereal aisle in a while. So,
Yeah.
So
You have a gallon of milk I can also take home.
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
crunch.
Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, sometimes, not all the time, on Wednesday night, it's my good friend Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up? I meant to save my beer so I could crack it right when you introduced me for a night pod, but I cracked it too soon, Andrew.
Night Pod. Got ourselves.
Actually, I went to the store across the street to get a beer for the night pod.
Yeah.
And I grabbed one that I always grab, Andrew, but they had put a different beer in the wrong spot. I walked home, Andrew, with a double IPA, 9% ABV. I said, I'm not drinking that on a Wednesday night. I went and returned it.
You did. You went back.
Yes, and got a safer beer. This is 6.2%.
Okay. Are you like are you doing like a just a one beer, a Zach Lowe one beer?
Yes, I mean they're tall.
Yeah, it's a tall boy.
But yeah, I couldn't do if I did a tall boy on a Tuesday night, 9%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel good. It wouldn't be worth it. There's no reason.
Well, our Thunder boys were in Tulsa tonight. They played the Dallas Mavericks.
BOK Center.
Be okay.
Did you think the color was off on that picture? It was like in sepia tone or something. Just the whole broadcast looked bizarre to me.
Definitely.
It looked like Chris Fisher and Michael Cage were on a fisheye camera.
It did. Well, they actually are. Well, I don't know if it's like a fisheye camera, but they're on this like little bitty camera that's like right in front of
Oh,
them.
really?
Uh-huh.
Because my wife just kept going, are they really that skinny? They look so skinny.
Chris
I
Fisher,
don't know.
what dark realms have you gone to over the offseason? They lost. Not that it matters. 98-96 to the Dallas Mavericks. No Luka Doncic tonight, but no Luka, no SGA. Seems fair. It's whatever. Starting lineup, only one change. Aaron Wiggins for Kenrich Williams, which is closer to the starting lineup that I predicted. Actually, pretty close to the starting lineup that I wanted. I think
For what? For the preseason or for a regular season?
I just like preseason prediction,
Hmm.
but this is kind of close to it. It's fun. It is a very fun lineup. Impressions, Al, like first impressions of this team of who
I
they
mean,
are.
okay, so like big picture, I would say that the first two preseason games have got me pretty hyped, Andrew.
Yeah,
Not necessarily for this upcoming season. I mean, although I am excited, obviously, for the start of the season, but more just about the future of this team, because this is one of those things that like Bill Simmons would say that you like can't prove is wrong. But I would say like this is the most fun I've had watching the Thunder in preseason.
yeah.
I have no comparison, but this feels like the most fun I've ever had. I can't remember previous preseasons, but it's like each incremental change they've made with roster spots over the last couple of years, as they remove a guy who doesn't necessarily fit the new Thunder mold and they add a guy who does fit the new Thunder mold. You're just seeing this team slowly form into what we've been talking about for years now
Mhm.
of the type of player they're looking for and why they're looking for that type of player and the type of basketball that might occur if you put a bunch of those guys together. Like
Yeah.
thinking about now, I'm not talking about talent, but comparing like the current roster to the KD Russ Thunder teams.
Yep.
Those teams were obviously way better. But the skill level on this team up and down the roster is like significantly higher than those teams.
Oh,
The
no
fact that you
doubt.
the
No
fact that you can have a guy who's like, I mean, Usman Jang is like the 10th man theoretically on this preseason roster because he came in with that second group of guys.
Mhm.
Like he can do so much more than whoever was the 10th man back in the day. And
There's
it's just wild. Like there's no comparison. It's like a different sport almost.
and they're missing the 3 best guys.
Wait, Shea Dort and Muscala?
No, Shea Dort and Chet.
Oh yeah, Chet. I forgot about Chet. I was thinking about
And
Muscala
Moose.
on the brain.
I mean,
Well-
per minute, if you take a look, no, the glass says no. I mean, Muscala's a guy that would have played on those Kevin
Yeah,
teams
for sure.
too. Actually, I mean, I don't know. They didn't value the 3 ball at all then, like they do today. But
It's so much fun watching the team because there are so many guys who can put pressure on the defense.
yeah, well,
Like,
there's so many guys to care about. Honestly,
Yeah. Back in the day, it was like Russ or KD. If they're not doing something, hopefully someone else is just like taking a wide open shot that they not,
Yeah.
On this team, every time the ball gets passed, you're like, I don't know what this guy might do. Like he might shoot it. He could attack the closeout. If he does attack the closeout, he might actually have like a really nice pass to
Yep.
someone on the interior, or he might kick it out to someone else and we'll do it all again.
Yep.
Like it is so much more engaging to watch as a fan compared to like these last couple seasons because they just keep adding more of these guys who can do all of these things.
Yeah. It's very exciting. And you look at the guys they started. I mean, there are a lot of times that Aaron Wiggins kind of brought the ball up the court. You're like, okay, what's going on here? And they get it to Giddey at the nail and then they'd run some kind of action. But really, you can trust a lot of these guys with the basketball in their hands. And this is kind of what the Thunder are hoping to build toward in the next few years as a team of like extremely versatile players that can play multiple positions. That like we talk about positionless basketball, but for the most part, there are very few teams that you can say are truly positionless. And I think like the Raptors are definitely one of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about like who's actually positionless, the Thunder are moving toward that. I mean, you have 6'8" point guard and Josh Giddey, who guards, I don't know, whoever on the other end. Poku, Poku's a real player. He's turning into what might actually be a real NBA basketball player. It's astonishing. The thing that I really noticed tonight is that his shot looks so much better. His shot actually has an arc on it.
Dude, I think he read John Hollinger's article today in The Athletic because Hollinger had a little quip about how he had zero angle on his shot.
Yeah.
And Poku clearly read that, took it personally, came out and shot it with some arc.
He did.
That's all we want.
Didn't it? I mean, it looked normal. I mean, that's really all that we've been asking for. And I think I tweeted this in the last game that in the past 2 years, it almost looked like he was like trying to fold his body in half, just trying to like propel the basketball because he just didn't have the strength. Not only does his shot look normal, like he looks more normal on the court too. Just like not like, oh my gosh, not like so outrageously skinny that you're just like, that is a skeleton, you know?
So you're saying he's sturdier.
You know what? My preseason bold prediction of him being sturdy. I don't even remember what my prediction was. Oh, it was like 39%. Does he not look sturdy? I know you're making fun of me about it, but he does look a little bit more sturdy. You have to admit it.
I mean, he just looks better overall. I mean, I do not notice him in the ways that I noticed him in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's a good and bad thing because, at the beginning we were excited because it's like this guy could be anything.
He had, after one game, he had a full 2 minutes of Shacked and a Fool highlights.
Yes, exactly. And that was fun. And at the same time, you were telling yourself, well, like, this is good. He wants to be the man. So, like, let's go with it. But there was that sequence in the second half tonight where I think he blocked a 3-pointer and then he made a 3. And then he had that pass. He had a pass that it was probably like a bad pass. It was a stupid pass, but it was a pass inside, overhead pass to, I think, Aaron Wiggins, who got the foul going up. And it was just like 3 plays, bang, bang, bang. And they were all just like really good plays. Like that whole idea of him being a connector, like kind of filling in the edges on this team. Like, he's not standing out in the way he did that first year, but like this version of Poku is a real NBA player.
Yeah.
Whereas that version of Poku was more like dreams and theory and like, oh, could you imagine if a 7-footer could do all this stuff?
Yeah.
This is like a real guy.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. Who has, we don't know for sure that he's taken the starting spot.
So, okay. I am so interested in the starting spot because obviously we know 4 of the starters. Like, we feel pretty confident that Shea, Giddey, Dort, and Jerry are going to be starters. We feel pretty confident that, which leaves the power forward position. Now, Mark Daigneault has started Poku the first 2 games, but he's also played, Aaron Wiggins as a starter. He's played Kenrich Williams as a starter. Both of those guys who could play power forward. And in fact, he played Kenrich Williams at the power forward last year, 35% of the time, according to Cleaning the Glass. We've talked about J-Dub potentially playing the 4. That's the one where, like, I would be shocked at this point if he was a starter on day one.
He's been the backup point guard for them.
Yeah. So, but I'm talking about like being the starting power forward. Do you feel like right now you've seen enough where like you would bet that Poku is day 1 starter?
Edge Poku. Yes.
Edge Poku over like a Wiggins or a Kenrich moving them up or moving them down, I guess, to the
the problem is size, length. That even with Jeremiah, they lack some length and some size out there, and
especially game 1 against Minnesota. Like, they're probably not gonna.
I know. I mean, they're gonna get probably trounced anyways, but I think you want that length. He's been using it well, and I was kind of floored the other day because we went to the practice facility, talked to Chet, and then we waited for Mark to come out. They served us some really delicious sandwiches in between those 2.
Oh, really? What kind of sandwiches?
It was chicken, bacon, avocado.
Ooh. What kind of bread they put it on? Was it like a roll or
it was a toasted wheat bread.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Chips?
Had some chips. Some Ruffles. That was great. Anyways, then Mark comes out and he's talking. And I just asked him, just like, okay, what are you? And I think I talked about this on Monday, but just like, who do you see that's standing out? Like, who's making some moves? Who's playing well? And he mentioned Poku, and I just couldn't believe it. Honestly, couldn't believe it. And even then, like, I was thinking, cool, he'll get to play some minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, even after that, I was like, yeah, Baisley's going to start. I still felt like Baisley's going to start. But this version of Poku, who just plays within the flow of the game and shoots open threes and he defends pretty well. Like, he's a pretty good defender. I'm not going to say like he's some great defender. He's like defensive player of the year. I mean, he's just solid. And then he can make good passes. He can do some stuff. I mean, this is the guy that they want. Whereas I don't even want to like pile on to Darius because we've already got that going on online, but like he just doesn't quite fit the role that they want that position to play. And Poku somehow has grown into that. Like, it's kind of astonishing to me because what we last saw of Poku wasn't really this. Like, we saw some glimpses of this in the second half of the season. But he really did have a really good summer and like really does understand what this team wants to do. And I am I am kind of blown away by it. I don't know. And it's not like he's doing anything crazy. Like his stat line's like 8 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 1 block tonight. 2 of 5 from 3. It's not like, oh, it's not anything crazy. But it's just like, oh, that just looks like an NBA player who's got incredible height and length for a power forward. That's what I saw.
Yeah, it was that first game, especially when they came out with the starting lineup. That was like a real moment for me.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
wow, like okay.
That starting lineup blew my mind.
Well, so what it made me think of was like when Chet got injured, like when that injury news came out.
Yeah.
My first thought in terms of like who benefits from this on the roster was not Darius Baisley, but like now that I've seen the preseason, like I don't know if Bays would get minutes if Chet had been healthy. Like if Dagnall is going with Poku over Bays from the start, and we know that those other guys like Wiggins or Kenrich Williams or J-Dub can play up to the 4, and frankly have to play up if you want them to get any type of serious minutes this season. Like, where would Bays have played if Chet was healthy? I don't know.
I don't know.
And it's kind of unfair to Bays because like him being the backup center, it's really not his ideal role.
Yeah. It's not plan A.
It is not plan.
You think we'll get an out of plan A from Bays?
That'd be great. Actually, I would enjoy that.
Would enjoy that a lot too.
But yeah, so like, I mean, this worked out kind of nicely for Bays because I do think he will get some backup center minutes now, though I'm thinking about Muscala coming back on the team and the way they played him at the beginning of last year, 15 minutes a game or whatever it is. Like if you're playing JRE 24 minutes a game, you want to play Muscala 12 minutes a game, like all of a sudden you're talking about like 8 minutes at backup center. I don't know if that math was right. Oh my God, I hope that was right. Like I'm just saying, like I went into the preseason thinking like they're still going to stick with Bays to some extent.
I thought so too,
and they have. I mean, he's played like he's played in these games. He's played significant minutes.
Yeah,
but at the same time, thinking ahead, I'm like he could be phased out of this rotation quicker than I ever thought because of the decision to go with Poku over Bays at the starting 4.
Yeah, to me that if that sticks and we get to the regular season and it's still Poku over Bays, which I'd be a little surprised if they went this direction and then flipped it for the regular season. But I've been talking about it for a little bit. I think that there's a Hamidou Diallo like trade coming for Darius, just because I don't see the minutes there. Even like Jang can play the 3 and the 4.
Yeah,
Jang is huge,
dude,
and defensively, he's like
looks so tall.
He does
on the court,
and it's partly because he moves so well that you just notice like, whoa, like how does a guy at his size, he almost looks like a creative player on 2K or something that you're like, just let's go and put the sliders up on the way that this guy moves. It looks like that. It's kind of wild watching him. Now, offensively, he's got a lot to figure out. He can really do some stuff with the basketball in his hands, and his shot doesn't look terrible. But he's got to figure some stuff out offensively. Defensively, that dude is just solid. You can tell he thinks the game at a pretty high level just because the way he defends, he knows what to do. This dude is so young. He's so young. He's got a long runway. There's a lot to learn for him. But man, I'd rather get that guy real minutes.
Yeah.
Give him the real minutes, please.
Yeah, for sure. Like play Poku at the backup 5 if you can get some minutes for Jang at the 4. I totally agree. And what's wild though is that like, okay, we're missing Shea, Dort, and Muscala from these preseason games in terms of guys who will legitimately play. Shea and Dort are going to play 30 plus minutes a game. Muscala, we assume, is going to play like 10, 12 minutes a game, at least at the start. Jang is coming in with that second group, with that bench unit. And you're watching that unit thinking like, there's a ton of guys on this unit that deserve minutes.
Yeah.
Or that I'd at least like to see minutes. But then you add in Shea, Dort, and Muscala. I don't know if they're going to be able to find Jang minutes right from the jump. Like I'm not going to be shocked if he plays 0 minutes that first game against the Timberwolves, which is fine. But there's there's going to be some guys on this roster that like I want to see that they're just not going to be able to find minutes for, at least initially. We'll see if there's some injuries, and I mean there always are, but yeah, I'm just like very, I don't know, I'm more hopeful for the future after just in general, not even about basketball. I'm more hopeful for the future after these first 2 preseason games than I was previously.
Yeah.
I feel like these first 2 preseason games have been like a proof of concept for me in terms of like throwing all these guys together. Because I talked about it when we were drafting all these guys. Like when you're drafting a ton of guys who are coming from an environment where they were the primary ball handlers, like how is that actually going to work in practice? Like how do you make this work? And I feel like it's already working because these guys are so unselfish.
That's the thing. And it feels like so cheesy. It feels like so like
it's very like hashtag Thunder culture.
Yes, and you just hate. Like I hate to act like I'm not acting like it's this thing. Like these guys are like genuinely like good guys, and things can change where guys will have different goals as they move throughout their NBA career. But right now, frozen in time, this young group really is very willing to play for one another. And that matters. I mean, that's going to matter if this team is going to make it as far as we want them to. But they're missing, honestly, they're missing their 2 best players for this potential run that they can have in the next couple of years in Chet and Shea. And you plug those guys in to this group, suddenly like Trey Mann isn't somebody that you're counting on to be your shot creator. He's like on the other side of the court, and people are like, oh crap, like we got to go check Trey, and then that opens up something else for somebody. Josh Giddey has all these weapons, and it feels like he has a lot of weapons around him now. Like just wait till he has Shea and Chet around him, and like not to mention what the 23 pick could potentially be as well. I mean, there's a real team forming, like you said. Like there's a real team forming here that you can see even in a year's time, looking at it and saying like, yeah, this team is going to compete. Like they're deep. They play together. It's pretty wild. It has been fun to see. It's only been 2 preseason games, and I don't want to like overstep or feel like we're speaking hyperbole, but
yeah. And that's why I like want to make the focus on like the future as opposed to this season, because I'm fully prepared for like the season to start and them to get like blown out by the Timberwolves.
I think they're going to lose probably 5 of their first 6 games. Like I think that's probably
yes. So it's less about that. Although I will say that like I'm less bullish on them being like a bottom 3-4 team in the league. Like I just think they're too organized, they're too disciplined. I was tweeting back and forth with OKC Skittles on Twitter about this. Well, like you compare them to these other teams at the bottom. This is just way more of like a unit and an idea that night to night is just going to win some games. Because they're so well drilled, and because the 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th guy that you bring in, there's not going to be a huge drop off there, because again, they keep adding these guys that fit the mold of what they're looking for this team going forward.
Yeah. It's a huge credit to Mark and his coaching staff. It's a really young coaching staff. They've got several guys that played for the Thunder, that are on the coaching staff.
Who's all there?
I mean, Eric Maynor's on the he's a player coach. And then what's his name?
Well, Nazi Muhammad is a GM of the Blue.
Yeah, Nazi Muhammad is a GM. The guy who coached, his name is.
Shouldn't have brought it up, Andrew.
No,
you knew I was going to ask you.
I know. Thanks for asking. But it's astonishing. This is not only a young Thunder team. This is a really young coaching staff too.
Yeah.
Mike Wilkes played. Like Dave Bliss is young. I mean, it's pretty wild what they've done, not only in the development of this team and the players. But man, the development of the coaching staff too has really been something. I really want to sit down with Mark at some point and tell his story, just because it's insane. I mean, it's absolutely an insane story, and he's done such a good job with this group. And I hope, a lot of people are like, oh, is Mark going to be the coach of the future? Like, who knows? Like, I have no idea if he's going to be the coach of the future, but I sincerely hope that he is, just because I think that he deserves a real chance to be that, because of what he's done, even so far. And they haven't won anything, they haven't done a whole lot, but you can just see like a real team, like just like cooking, and like this is eventually going to be something.
And that's why, like, so I mentioned the John Hollinger article earlier. And if you're not an Athletic subscriber, well, you got to subscribe to support us. But
John/down to dunk for $1 a month for 6 months.
I thought it was a worthwhile read, because we live in this OKC bubble, and I think it's actually good to hear from a national perspective that has more of a negative outlook on the team. But I would say I came away from that actually feeling good, because I feel like if the Thunder are going to really make it, like really exceed expectations, it's going to happen in a unique way. It's going to have to happen in a way that is not immediately apparent to everyone who casually watches the team.
Yep.
And so reading his article, like, he wasn't hitting on any of the stuff that we're talking about, like in terms of this team idea with all these playmakers coming together. And that kind of gets me excited, because I was mentioning this online, like, if you compare the worst teams in the league, like talent for talent, like, I think there's argument if you want to say like Detroit has the best core, or which I don't actually agree with, but if you want to say like Houston has the best core,
sure,
or whoever it is has the best core, Orlando has the best core, I think those arguments are fine. But I think where the Thunder set themselves apart is that they aren't just drafting talent, which is, to be honest, is what we talked about at the beginning, is what we wanted them to do, like take BPA every single time, which frankly is what Houston has been doing, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. They haven't been doing that. They haven't been necessarily doing BPA every single time. They've been creating this team philosophy around all these guys who can handle and make decisions. And that is a unique idea. So, like, I totally understand an outside perspective who just hasn't clicked for them yet, because frankly, before seeing all these guys in preseason, it hadn't really clicked for me. I was still very hesitant about the idea that, oh, you're going to bring all these ball handlers. Well, won't they, like, how will they all learn to just function off the ball automatically? Like, how do you teach that to multiple guys on the team who kind of have been preparing for years to be ball handlers in whatever league they're going to play in? So I don't know. I just think this is a very fun experiment.
Yeah.
And it's a different experiment than what's going on in the other markets that are bad currently. And, we'll see how it plays out. But I'm intrigued by OKC because it does feel unique.
Yeah. Well, and people are all excited about Detroit because they made this trade for Bogdanovich. And, the Hawks were applauded a couple summers ago because they made moves to bring in the other Bogdanovich, and they wanted to do all these other, they brought in Gallinari, and they did these things. Everyone was like, oh, very good, very, very good.
And you got delayed gratification on that.
I got on the Hawks.
It was very delayed. It was a year delayed.
They went to the conference finals. Crashing down. But this is where you don't skip steps. Like, these are the moments where you don't skip steps. You trade Jeremy Grant. Good job, Detroit. You traded Jeremy Grant. Now you can really just develop these young guys and try to figure out what you got here, and then get another high pick. Well, they brought in a guy that's going to help, but still, are the Pistons confident that they even have a good second best player?
Well, dude, I was watching, and I don't want to overreact to preseason, so I didn't tweet about it. But watching Detroit in the preseason against the Knicks, like, I cannot believe that team is a year further along than Orlando, Houston, OKC. They have had an entire extra year of having a top pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it does not feel like they are that much different from those other 3 teams.
Right.
Like Houston, Orlando, and OKC have all been through 2 drafts now
Mm-hmm.
where they have had a, choice selection at the top. Whereas Detroit has now had 3. They've won around 20 games now, 3 seasons in a row, now entering their 4th season.
Yeah.
Like that is just like not talked about at all.
Yeah.
And it will be. It will be. I already made my bold prediction, Andrew. First coach to be fired. It's going to be talked about because I watched that team and I'm like, that's not a 30-win team, dude. That bench that they have, Marvin Bagley, they're counting on Marvin Bagley to be like a legit 20-minute, 25-minute tonight guy on that team. I've got bad vibes out of Detroit. No one's sniffing it out yet, but I have sniffed it, Andrew. And it smells stinky.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, and you hope that OKC. I think there's one of the beauties of this season. There really is truly no pressure on like anything to happen here.
There's not. Next season there will be a ton, but this season,
next season there's a lot. There's a lot of pressure incoming. There's pressure on Detroit now, but to me, I'm just like, just let it play out. Don't press that friggin' button, and because if they do make progress and Bogdanovich is their second best player or third best player, like look what happened. Like Gallinari was one of the best players on the Hawks, and then like his career is basically over.
Bogdanovich is like 33 or 34, and he's an expiring contract.
Yeah, what are you going to
do? He could go play with any contender that he wants to next season.
He could just walk, and then if you don't have the guy to replace him, then like your progress is just like deleted almost.
Dude, I know this is stupid because we're still thinking about the draft, but if Chet had been healthy, oh my God, I would have been so high on this team.
I know.
I would have easily picked them to finish ahead of Detroit.
Yeah, I think
like OKC makes so much more sense to me than Detroit does right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you were starting, and I'm even more sad about it now that I know that there was actually a chance that Poku and Chet start next to each other. The thin towers that everybody was making fun of. They're like, oh, there's no way Poku sucks. Poku's never going to play again. And blah, blah,
he's an alien.
He's an alien. Spaceship. It's so great that Mark said that. That's what we all feel inside, like deep into our souls. But yeah, knowing that there's an actual chance that Poku is the power forward, which they probably give it to Jeremiah, but even so, there was a chance.
Even so,
that
we should probably mention just a few guys. I just want to mention Giddey.
Let's go through the roster a little bit. Talk about these guys. Well, before then, let's take a quick break, and then on the other side of this break, we will talk about individual players and less team concept. We'll be right back. And we're back after that quick break. Al, let's talk Josh Giddey.
Oh, Jay just commented, y'all trash Charlotte yet? No, Charlotte is trash.
They're trash.
Yeah, I'm worried about Charlotte.
I know. I'm a little worried.
I don't know how that's gonna go.
That LaMelo Wemby combo would look pretty nice.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I am interested to see. Obviously, watched the Wemby Scoot show last night, and I am interested to see because everyone's immediate reaction was like, "Whoa, the tank race is going to be so hot and heavy this year."
Yeah.
At the same time, like Tony Jones for the Utah Jazz is all talking about the Jazz are really going to try every night, and even Zach Lowe will talk about like the Jazz have some players, and I'm like, dude, Danny Ainge is not going to let this opportunity pass him by.
Better not.
I have to believe he is willing to do anything it takes to get them good odds. Like there will be teams, that genuinely tank in the same way that OKC tanked the last couple seasons, and I hope it is noticed.
Well, people forget that the Celtics were supposed to get a top 2 pick in the Durant-Oden year.
Yeah, when they fell to 5.
They fell to 5, and then they just figured it out and ended up falling just backwards into a title theme, and it was great. It was awesome for them. But the original plan was that they were going to get Kevin Durant.
Yeah, they're tanking their asses off. And I fully believe that Utah will do the same thing this year.
I do too. That's yeah. I think they will have a bottom 3 record. I would almost bank that.
Okay, individual players. Josh Giddey, what a guy. He really had his floater going tonight,
Yeah.
which is so dangerous. We talked about previously the comparison of Russell Westbrook and Josh Giddey, where like both put a ton of pressure on the defense, but do it in completely opposite ways. Like Russ's pressure on the defense was based on his explosiveness, his athleticism, how quick he was. Like the second he made a decision, you were already too late if he was going to the rim.
He's just a semi truck, just barreling toward the rim.
You're screwed. Whereas Josh, it doesn't look amazing when he starts driving.
He's a hot air balloon.
He's a hot air balloon. He's very slow, but there's always that threat that he's about to make some pass that you haven't even conceived of yet.
Yeah.
And I really think that like slows everything down on the court.
Yeah.
Because guys don't know what he's about to do, which gives him that floater. And when that floater's going in, it's like I don't know how you guard this guy, even if he doesn't have like an amazing 3-point shot.
Yeah.
If he can just get to the floater, it's gonna work.
Yeah, his touch looks really good. He had that one on the baseline. It was really wasn't a floater, but it was like a one-legged shot.
Yeah, I haven't seen him take that shot ever.
Yeah. I think the commentator, was it Cage that said that he tries that in horse? I think that's what he said.
Oh, he tries it in horse?
Yeah, he said that's one of his horse shots, but he misses it every time. Little tease, Andrew Gaze, who is legendary Australian basketball player. He has known Josh since Josh was a baby. He played with his dad for the Melbourne Tigers for a long time, won 2 titles with them. He's in town with the Adelaide 36ers. And I got an exclusive interview with Andrew Gaze today. And so that interview will drop Monday.
Nice. And
we talk a lot about Josh, mostly about Josh, a little bit about Gaze's career, but it was awesome. He's great. So look for that Monday.
And that game is depending on when you're listening to this, it's Thursday night. In OKC.
Yep.
Not in Australia. That's good that they didn't make them fly to Australia. That would have been tough.
Tulsa.
That would have been a tough turnaround.
Well, to Adelaide.
Isn't there an NBL player, a next guy in Adelaide playing for is it Adelaide or Adelaide?
Adelaide. Yeah, I don't know enough about it, to be honest. We didn't talk about the 36ers much.
Okay.
I really just wanted to focus on Josh for the most part. But yeah, it was cool. I met him have you ever been to the National, the hotel downtown?
I have not.
It's beautiful.
Is it named after the band?
It's mostly band themed. No.
That's cool.
It's a beautiful hotel. But Josh looks great. Just like completely under control. Like just knows he's just a basketball player, man. Like he looked great tonight. His first quarter, he played really well. He finished with 13, 3 and 2. He had 3 steals. 3 steals has got to be close to a career high for him, right?
I believe 4 is his, or he's either never had 4 or 4 is his career high. I saw someone tweet that.
Yeah, that seems about right. But yeah,
he looks so. The second guy I wanted to mention is Aaron Wiggins, just because I had real fears during the summer that like there just wasn't going to be minutes for him. And we'll see. Maybe there won't be. But the fact that Mark has been so willing to go to him in the preseason.
He's just good. He's just a good basketball player. Defensively, he looks awesome.
I just feel so much more confident now that he's actually going to get some minutes. And maybe it only ends up being like 15 minutes a night or whatever, just because there's so many guys that need minutes on this team. But I'm feeling much more confident that he's not just going to kind of have to ride the bench and you hope for an injury just so that he could get any kind of minutes. Like it feels like he is a part of this rotation. And it's tough to figure out the rotation right now, but the fact that he started makes me feel like, okay, like Aaron Wiggins is going to be a part of this rotation one way or the other. Whereas someone like Jay Will, for instance, I would be shocked if he got minutes initially at the start of the season.
Yes. Yeah, he's like getting garbage time minutes in the preseason.
Yeah, same with Lindy Waters, who I like, but like I'd be surprised if he's getting minutes just because of how many guys are on this team, especially at that position, like the guard wing
Yeah,
position.
we don't know what Dort's timetable is, but I mean, when Dort's back, like there's just no minutes.
Yeah, but it feels like Wiggins is there, like he's made it, like he's going to be in this rotation.
I think so too. He's just he plays really hard. He's a really good defender, and his shot looks improved. He shot lights out in the first game. He's 4-4 from 3. But even like going 3 of 3 from the free throw line tonight, you know, he just lets the game come to him. You know, he doesn't try to do too much. He's like a great role playing wing. And to get that guy where they did in the draft, you know, is incredible. Who knows where this goes from here? Because these guys still haven't been put in like the pressure cooker of winning basketball games and like the pressure of winning. And what does that look like? And who steps up in those moments? Like I have little doubts about Shea, Giddey, Dort, Kenrich. Like I feel like those guys, and I feel like you can throw Jeremiah in there too. Like Jeremiah seems like a guy that is not going to be rattled by the winning pressure cooker. But I think everybody else is like, heck, I don't know. You know, I mean, I was just thinking about this today. Like year 2 of Jeff Green, what did we think about him? You know, like what did we think about him and like the future that was going to be held for him? You know, I'm sure that we thought really good things because he had a nice rookie season.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you just think, oh, this guy's just going to get better. He's going to improve. He's going to get stronger. Like maybe he'll handle a little bit more. And it's just like ultimately didn't work out for him here. You know, and there's somebody that looks really good right now that we're really excited about heading into year 2, 3, whatever it is. That's just ultimately not going to work out here. I don't know. I don't know why that thought. I was mowing my field out there and just thinking about Jeff Green. But I was just thinking about that. Like there's guys that look good because Jeff Green looked good. Jeff Green like had like game-winning shots and had like these insane dunks at times on guys and played really solid defense. And you're like, yeah, this guy's great. I don't even remember what my thoughts were though. Like, do you remember having Jeff Green thoughts?
I mean, that was such a strange time because you had like KD and eventually Russ.
Yeah,
where where eventually with Russ and definitely with KD, like you were thinking like pie in the sky ideas of what they could become.
Yeah.
And so with Jeff Green, there was never a need for him to become that.
Yeah.
So you were always just like, if he could just like, why can't he just be the third guy on a championship team?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in retrospect, that's actually like really hard to do to
It's
be
really hard to
the
do.
third guy on a championship team.
Well, and then Serge Ibaka emerged
Yeah.
from like obscurity, honestly. Like he
Right.
was a guy that like we didn't even know if he was going to play for the team the year that he came over, and then he played, you know, some minutes and looked pretty good, and then turned into something. That's also the stage that they're in now. Is like somebody on this roster is going to be the next like Serge, you know, that's going to take one of the starting spots and like be a really good player. It could be Jeremiah. It could be Jang. I thought Jang looked really good. Jay's in the chat saying, what about Jang?
And that's why I'm trying to think of these guys more as like rotation players, and that's it. Like I'm just how many rotation players do we have on this team?
Oh man,
who does Marcus
make the rotation?
Like honestly, if they're gonna play Muscala, I don't know if Bays will get minutes. Like Bays does not look good. Tonight he had a really rough sequence where he like passed the ball in from out of bounds. It was immediately stolen, and then he had something went wrong on the offensive end. I don't know what the future holds for Bays. He's one of these guys where like he obviously can put up stats. Like even tonight in 19 minutes, 8 and 6. Like in 19 minutes, that's pretty good. Like 8 and 6. and he's done that previously. I remember when I think it was last year or the year before, where he finished the season with like 12-7, and the guys who had done that at his age was like a very short list.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just everything we've talked about in terms of the guys the Thunder are looking for, he does not fit that mold. Like if Poku is a connector, like Bays feels like a disconnector. He like things just he has more record scratch moments than any other guy on the court. If he's running down the lane, he can catch the ball and finish. Like that is when he's at his best. Like when he is
transition, yes. Yeah.
when he is sprinting down the lane, like I have no concerns about his hands. Like he can catch the ball and he can finish at the rim if he's like gets a head start. It's when he's gets the ball at the top of the key and everything takes like a half a second longer than it takes everyone else on the court in terms of like making a decision of what he's going to do next. And so it just slows everything down a little bit. And I don't know. There might be a better situation for him elsewhere in the league where they could fit him into a role on a team that makes a little bit more sense for him. I mean, I've always struggled with Bays, but especially now with all of these new guys entering the team,
Sure.
where you just see them like making decisions super quick, and then the ball gets passed to Bays, and you're like, all right, what is he going to do? Like, because you still don't believe in the shot, obviously. I mean, I think he had 2 air balls in that first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's still doing those drives, man. Every drive he makes, it's just like I have no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah,
anything could happen right now.
Yeah. Now I just can't stop thinking about my all disconnectors, team.
All disconnectors. That'd be a fun way to describe like a potential prospect. He's a disconnector.
He's a disconnector. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of disconnectors in the NBA.
There are. And like I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like if a trade does materialize, I don't think the Thunder would hesitate, even though they do have a lack of front court options right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they would hesitate on that. I mean, it is so hard to imagine him getting a second contract with the Thunder right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Even more than Hami, honestly.
I know Hami played really well at the start of the season.
Yeah, he did.
Whenever he got traded. Cam Thomas, ultimate disconnector for the Nets. Okay, let's talk about let's just walk through a potential rotation, full squad. So
squad.
Giddey, Shea, Dort, Poku, JRE. Gosh, saying that out loud just makes me feel really good. If I'm being honest, it's just great to say all those names all in a row.
And we're thinking like 30 plus minutes for Shea, Dort, Giddey, and maybe like 20 to 24 minutes Poku, JRE.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
J-Dub has been the backup point guard so far. I don't see any reason to not make him that. He can guard multiple positions. He can play multiple positions, but they obviously want him playing point guard for some reason. So let's put him there. Trey Mann, who we haven't talked about really.
Yeah.
Trey looks really good, man. He looks great.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy to have out there with Giddey specifically, because I just feel like, I mean, it happened tonight where Giddey was able to generate him a couple of wide open threes.
Yep.
And there's probably no one else on this team other than maybe Muscala that you want in that position. And so I really hope that they pair them together on like a second unit.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'd have Giddey, J-Dub, Trey Mann playing together.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where you get minutes for Kenrich at the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever you want to play at 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for Trey.
But yeah,
he could be the microwave scorer off the bench that this team needs.
So you just mentioned 6-man, J-Dub, Trey Mann, 6th, 7th man.
Yep.
And then we think Kenrich is going to play. So now we're up to 8.
He's got it. I mean, he just has to play. I just think that you bring in Kenrich, he just has to play.
And so now we haven't mentioned Wiggins yet, and we're at the 9th man.
I know.
And that's what's so crazy. Like, we haven't mentioned Muscala, we haven't mentioned Jang,
Yeah.
we haven't mentioned Bays, obviously.
Yeah. This is kind of what, if Muscala is going to play, I'd just rather play Oos at the 4 and not mess with the Baisley minutes. That's just where I'm at, and I think a lot of fans feel that way too. They're still, if you're a fan of Baisley, like, it doesn't bother me. It's like, whatever. If you want to be a fan of him, that's great. Like, he needs support. But if we're talking about the development of the future of the Thunder, I really just think you need to play Usman Jang. That's just where I'm at with it. You just got to play Jang. He looks like he's ready to play some minutes, not significant minutes. He's got a lot to learn, but to me, like, the way you learn is like, throw him out there against second units, see what he can do against these guys. Let him develop the skills that you're wanting him to. I just think that's the best environment to do it. And this is where you figure out who's a guy and who's not. This is just what you do. And I think we've seen enough of Baisley. Maybe they'll give him one more chance to kind of figure it out. But to me, the Poku flag has been planted.
That's how it feels. Like, that's why I'm glad we didn't record after the first preseason game, because at that point I was still wondering, like, well, maybe Mark is going to switch it up, like rotate guys into the starting lineup. Maybe he starts Poku game 1, he starts Bays game 2, and he sees what he got. The fact that he went Poku back-to-back games, and we'll see what he does tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty telling to me.
Yeah.
That makes me think, like, Baisley's closer to being out of the rotation than he is to having, like, a locked-in 25 minutes a night.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're going to play Muscala, then now we're at 11 guys.
Yeah. And, like, there's so many minutes that you want.
Yeah.
You want to get from those guard wing guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talked about it. Like, I want Wiggins playing on this team.
Yep.
I want Kendrick playing on this team. I want J-Dub playing on this team. Those guys cannot play unless they get some minutes at the power forward.
Yeah.
Because you have Shea, Dort, Giddey, Trey Mann. Like, you have to move some of those guys up and give them power forward minutes. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to play. And that's before even introducing the idea of Usman Jang.
Yeah. And then the crunch gets even crazier if we fast forward even further to at the beginning of next season, because then you're adding Chet plus whoever they get with their 23 pick.
Yeah. I mean, someone will flame out this year that
somebody that we're talking about glowingly right now, yes, will not be as great as we believe they are.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, especially if we've kind of locked in JRE.
Yeah.
Based mostly on, like, his defensive skills.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about him when Chet was healthy. Like, he is the most likely front court mate with Chet.
Yes.
Because he adds a little bit of size that you're missing with Chet, and it just kind of makes sense, especially because he shot 35% from 3 last year, although he has not. I don't know if he made a 3 yet in preseason. But yeah, like, if you're planning on playing Jerry and Chet, like, yeah, the roster crunch is insane at that point. And I mean, it's obviously terrible that Chet is injured this season, but at least that opens up some minutes for some of these guys to figure out what we have before next season.
And it's great that it's guys that I feel like it's okay to invest your time in.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Like, this is not, and no disrespect to Isaiah Roby, but this isn't Isaiah Roby.
Dude, no disrespect to fucking sorry. To Teo. No to Teo Maladon or Svi Mihailuk, who is still in the NBA. Or Veet. Like, all those guys were cool, but I do feel like we've upgraded at those positions.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
To where the prospect level is much higher than it was previously.
Yeah.
So that gets me super excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
good.
it's so crazy to think 2 years ago how many minutes Teo played.
He played the most minutes on the team.
Played the most minutes on the team.
He's
And
not,
now we have a roster where like Teo would not get a single minute on this roster.
he might not even practice with them.
They wouldn't even let him practice.
They wouldn't even let him practice. They
Make him
would
sit on the side.
they'd walk him up to the club level and say, "Hey, you want to check out the club level?"
I'm glad he got that tour by clutch timing by him.
I don't know that he got it.
Oh no! Maybe
I don't-
when Houston comes back to OKC and
I think he's
plays.
going to make the Rockets.
I mean, honestly, why not? I mean, honestly they don't.
I thought you were gonna say when he comes back for Thunder Legends night.
No, I was thinking though, like the Rockets, like KPJ is like their starting point guard. Josh Christopher, like my point is that they don't really have like a pure like traditional point guard type on the roster, do they? Or I guess they got Kennedy. Is his
Kennedy
name
Chandler.
Kennedy Chandler? I mean, I guess that's another guard. I don't know. I think there's a potential for Teo to make that roster and bring something that they don't really have. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Of all the guys we sent down there, although people are acting like Favors is gonna stick, and then they'll move him somewhere.
yeah.
Hey, Andrew, before we go, I forgot I had to do this. I have to wish someone a happy birthday.
Okay, yeah. I do gotta go, but yeah, go ahead.
I would like to wish a happy birthday to Callum, not my son. My son's
Oh.
name is
I was
also
gonna
Callum.
say, I was like, it's definitely not been a year. We've got
No.
to check it's in your can.
I have to wish him a happy birthday every month. This is 4-month birthday. No, this is a listener of the pod whose grandmother happens to be friends with my mother, and found out that
really?
this was the pod, and sent her a text request to if I could wish him a happy birthday through
Wow.
text. I said, no, thank you. I'm not going to wish him happy birthday through text. I will announce it on the pod.
There you
So,
go.
happy birthday to Callum.
Happy
Who
birthday.
who I'm assuming is listening. Hopefully he's listening. If he's not listening, I mean, is he really a fan at that point, Andrew?
Obviously.
Hey, I did. Oh yeah, I did tell you this. Never mind. I did. Well, no, I won't. Okay, never
Okay.
mind. Keep going.
Tai Washington.
Pad Thai, Washington. What'd you say?
Tai Washington.
Oh, by the way, I have Pad Thai on the way. I ordered Thai food when we started
really?
the pod. Is on the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dacian Nix. Other point
Oh,
guard.
Dacian Nix. Yeah, he's a point guard.
Thick Daddy point guard. Okay. Thanks so much for listening. Come on. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Oh wait, Kennedy Chandler was on a totally different team. He's on the
Yeah.
Grizzlies, isn't he?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
like,
All
where
right.
is he? He's definitely not on the Rockets.
Yeah, he's on the Grizzlies. Sorry about that. Tai Washington. Well, there you go. I don't know if Teo's going to make it. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't think he
Rough way to end the pod.
That's okay. We have regular season games just around the corner.
2 weeks from tonight,
2 weeks from tonight, opening night.
Wednesday.
It's going to be great. Hey, listen, Down to Dunk night, November 3rd. It's a great night. Alex, you were there last year. This is part 2 of Down to Dunk night at the Thunder Arena. So what we will do is we will meet at the Tap House, which is in the Omni at 5:30. We'll have dinner. We'll meet and greet, hang out. It's going to be fun. And then we will walk over to the game together as a group. So we had just upper level options last time. This time we are going to have a lower level option too. So if you want to buy a lower level seat, you can, or upper level. It doesn't matter. After the game, we will get to go down onto the court, shoot a half court shot. If you make the shot, if you win the contest, you get 2, courtside seats. Yeah, courtside seats at a Thunder game. It's going to be so much fun. We'll take a big group picture. Go get your tickets. You can find them on my Twitter account at Andrew K. Schlecht or at Down to Dunk. You can find the link for that. And it's going to be so much fun. So please join us for Down to Dunk night. It's against the Nuggets. The Thunder always play good against the Nuggets. I was looking for a game. They played against the Heat last year, and I was like, oh man, the Heat kind of crushed the Thunder. How many attempts? 1 attempt. Last year we had a lot of people show up, and so it was really we only had time for 1 attempt per.
But we still got 2. I think 2 people made it, and then we
People
went
made it.
into a
Yeah. Then they went in.
sudden death.
Yeah. So it was so much fun. So join us for that. Please go buy your tickets. It's through the Thunder website, but we have a direct link on our Twitter account. So go check that out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night. And we will talk to you guys again on Friday.